Week 7 is in the history books, 19 to go, and I'm still very optimistic. Had a had a solid week. Certainly some ups and some downs, but it was mostly a taper week as I got ready for the 50K race in Littlefield, Arizona. It's called the Grandmasters Ultra, and it was just for runners over 50. So it was nice being the young, fast guy out there, especially running the shorter distance, because there was a 50K, a 50 mile, 100K, and a 100 mile. So it was fun. But let me rewind till Monday. Monday had just a shakeout, easy 6 mile run, and I made some progress in that. My easy runs, I've had the history or the habit of checking my watch too much, and even though it's easy, sometimes my easy runs were a little bit harder because I didn't want to have a time posted that was in the 9s or the 10s. So I made a commitment to really run on perceived effort and not worry about what the watch said. So my run on Monday was a tad bit slower. I think I finished just a 9:01 pace, but it really was a moderate, easy, moderate effort of 5. Tuesday afternoon was a great run. I was in Sacramento for work, and I gave Coach Megan a couple days notice, and she was able to work her schedule. So we did now out and back from Auburn Overlook Park in Auburn, California, down to No Hands Bridge, and then ran back on the Western States course and a training area that I was very familiar with when I lived in Rockland. And it was great getting to know her. Very easygoing personality. I definitely made the right decision with her, with the coach. I didn't give this other guy a whole lot of consideration, but I was considering one other individual, and just the personality, it just didn't feel right. So certainly a lot of easy conversation. Megan had some inspirational stories as we shared some trail time, and I'm just really excited to continue to get to know her and to work together towards my goal of getting under 24 hours. Wednesday was also in the Sacramento area, and I got together with my older running friends. Clint and Jeff are in their early 60s, and Earl is a couple years younger than me, but we run a real easy pace, and it was very conversational. It was a lot of fun socializing with them and getting caught up on Wednesday morning. So it was a very low intensity. I think it was a perceived effort of probably a 3, but it was good to have time on the feet, and it was good spending time with my old friends. Thursday was rest day, and then Friday was just a very easy shakeout run. I decided to do it at the gym because I wanted to do some calisthenics, and I also wanted to spend some time in the sauna, but I think I did 2.25 downhill on the treadmill, and got a teeny bit of stretching in, and then had my big run on Saturday. So this is a newer race, this Grandmaster Ultra in Littlefield, Arizona. So it's run mostly in Arizona, but it dips into Nevada. And then in my case, I didn't actually put a toe into Utah, but it goes to the Three Corners area where the states converge. And I believe the 50 and the 100 miles actually spend time in Utah. But it was a nice run in terms of just having strictly an older crew. And then the race director, I think the race director goes out and does some recruiting, because there were some pretty noticeable personalities that were at the race. Pam Reed, who's very well known for her Badwater runs, she was there. She actually finished her 100th 100-mile race, which is pretty amazing. Some other notables that I saw, Gordy Ainsley, I was able to actually see him both at the airport in Vegas on Thursday night as I came back home to St. George, and then I saw him on the course. But he certainly is an inspiration, given what his story is and how he kind of started this sport as we know it today. Also saw the Jester. Actually, I didn't see the Jester, the guy that runs with the Jester's hat and the full body suit. And then Katra, I forget Katra's last name, the Dirt Diva. I was able to see her. So the race did a nice job of bringing in some recognizable, well-known legends. And my favorite was Gene Dykes. Gene Dykes is well known for holding every age group running record. Basically, I think over 65. He's an absolute stud. I think he's currently still running a marathon in just barely over 3 hours at some I think he's 72. But it was fun to talk to him. A very personable guy from Philadelphia, which is where my dad's from. So I enjoyed talking to him a bit. I also I thought he was very classy. I think they took the high road, but I asked the awkward question about the doctor who had been faking his times to hold on to his fake world records, and Gene was pretty candid about his feelings, and obviously no one wanted to see it end the way it did, but he was as convinced as everybody that this guy was he was cheating. So enjoyed talking to him. Also enjoyed seeing some of my old running friends from Sacramento. I didn't spend a lot of time with them on the trails in Sacramento, more acquaintances, but they're very active on Facebook, and I was able to enjoy seeing Beth and Brett Lang. Beth actually grew up in Old Lyme, Connecticut, just a couple towns away from me. So just such a great camaraderie and a friendship and just a friendly environment in the ultra running world, which kind of segues into what I wanted to talk about. The actual race had a couple issues with it. Overall, it was a great day. I felt like I ran it well, but not too well to beat me up too badly. But it was a staggered start because of COVID, and it was a chip-timed race, so I didn't think twice. I lined up and I made sure I was fully ready. Went to the bathroom an extra time, just got everything tidied up, and I ended up crossing the starting line about 5 minutes after 8. I started with another lady who I think was doing the 50 mile, and you spend, I don't know, maybe 200 yards on a deserted paved road, and then it goes up onto the dirt trails, and then immediately there's a sharp left. However, the course was marked really poorly, and the lady who was doing the 50 mile and we talked for a few seconds, and we tried to make the best decision based on the markers, and we ended up going out about a half mile each direction before it became apparent that there were no more markers and that there were no tracks in the sand. And we turned around and we came back. So the race didn't get off to a great start in that I took a wrong turn. My shoes were getting filled with this really fine sand because I chose street running shoes, and it was just flat out hard getting any sort of rhythm in this deep sand. So after about, I think, 2 miles on my watch, especially given the extra mile that I did, I finally got some rhythm on the hard-packed trails or roads. So they were not super flat, but they did run more like a road than they did technical trail. And there was just a lot of fast, harder trail mixed in with about 10% of deep sand, and then probably about 5 to 10% technical climbing, probably less. It really was a running course, but was able to really dial in, and I held about a 9:30, 9:40 pace for about the first 15, 16 miles. And then at the turnaround, I really wanted to get, even if my official time wasn't going to be sub 5, I wanted to be sub 5 on my watch in terms of the 100K. I thought that'd be a monumental number to get under. So I pushed it a little bit too hard from about mile 16 to 26. There were some faster miles. I got a little bit behind in my nutrition and my liquids. I got a little bit of stomach issues. And probably about mile 24, I passed and talked to a guy who was a couple years older than me from Ogden, Tim Sanchez. And we had some nice chats. It was pretty friendly. and enjoyed sharing the trail with someone. I passed him, he passed me, I passed him, and then finally he passed me when at mile, I think it was about 25 or 26, I went into the aid station and actually used the restroom. Was not able to get any real relief. I wasn't able to get the business done, but I think just sitting down settled my stomach a bit. I was able to get some more liquid in. But at this time of the day, it's probably 60 degrees and sunny. Not so hot, but it was just feeling pretty warm compared to the type of weather we've been running in. And it was a real struggle those last 6 miles. I wanted to keep running, which I did, but I just ran at a slower pace. And kind of reminded me what I don't like about the sport. I really enjoy the lifestyle. I enjoy competing. I enjoy getting up in the morning and accomplishing something important that pertains to my goals. But those last 6 miles, it just hurt. And I wasn't even in that bad a shape. It was just kind of like, okay, just grind it out, get the work done. So I never did catch Tim again. And then got to the award ceremony. And I knew that I started the latest. I didn't see anybody else at the starting line. And in hindsight, I should have asked. I could have asked it in a friendly, non-confrontational way if the race was a gun start or a gun finish, or if it was a chip. Now, given that it was staggered on purpose because of COVID, I assumed that it was going to be a chip finish. And I just should have been more assertive to find out if I took third as they had me, or if I really did finish second, because Tim only beat me, I think, at the actual clock by, I want to say maybe 3-4 minutes, and I probably started 10 minutes later. I still haven't seen the official results. The long and the short of it is that I took the third place trophy and Tim took the second place trophy. And then the race director contacted me and told me there was this mistake. And I said, hey, that sounds good. I'd like to take the trophy that I earned. But I said, it's not a huge deal. So she made a few phone calls and ended up putting us together. And then this morning at about 8:30, as he traveled back from Nevada back to his home, we exchanged the trophies. And my understanding, there's some chatter online. I didn't want to get involved because I didn't think it would be too uplifting, but I think that there was kind of a consensus that that I was the bad guy and the race director was the bad guy for taking this poor guy's trophy who beat me at the actual finish line. So again, I don't know exactly what was said, but in exchanging a couple text messages with the race director, she was just saying that it kind of blew up into something bigger and that she wasn't really fond of some of the stuff that was being said. So left it at that. But the end of the day, I ended up running just slightly over a 10-minute per mile pace for 32.2 miles. And really felt good about the effort. In hindsight, a perfect race, I would have probably slowed down teeny bit in the beginning. I would have definitely slowed down a little bit after the turnaround, and hopefully I would have had a little bit more to have a better kick at the end. The week ended up getting me just under 60 miles. I think it was 57.7, and I think my average training pace, which to me is nonsense. I think my average for that distance was 10:19. But as I've been saying on these weekly check-ins, and I'll continue to say, what I need is technical trail time. So at least last week I did, even though it was easier effort. But I definitely need that. I definitely need to do what I say every week. But by saying it, hopefully I will follow through and do it. But to me, the training's kind of easy because I want to do what the coach says. I want to make sure I get better sleep, and I want to continue to stretch and get that trail time. So things are good, life is good, and until next week, ciao.